Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Golden 30, a 30-minute program with topics geared towards older adults. My name is Carrie Gray, and I am the Adult and Senior Services Specialist for Prince George's County Memorial Library System. Today, we will discuss starting a business in retirement with Patricia Patty Cleary of Counsel, Byrd, LLC, Attorneys at Law. But first, let me give a disclaimer. This presentation is for general information only and is not intended to establish an attorney-client relationship and or to give legal advice. Patricia Cleary does appear as courtesy of Byrd, LLC, Attorneys at Law, not just good lawyers, good counsel. Please call to schedule an appointment with one of the experienced and knowledgeable attorneys. Byrd, LLC, Attorneys at Law is located at 14300 Gallant Fox Lane, Suite 120, Bowie, Maryland. You can also call or text at 301-464-7448. Or you can just go to their website, byrdandbyrd.com. Now, let me give you a little background about our presenter today, Patricia Cleary of Counsel. Patricia Cleary Dukes received her J.D. cum laude from the University of Baltimore in 1998. As a general practitioner, Patty brings over 20 years of experience in all types of civil litigation and transactional practice with particular interest in employment law, real estate issues, and nonprofit management. Patty earned her BS in Management Studies from the University of Maryland University College. Patty has been a guest lecturer on tort law and served as an adjunct professor at the University of Baltimore School of Law, and most recently has taught employment law in the legal skills program at Anne Arundel Community College. In addition, she has served as counsel to nonprofit and homeowner association boards, and most recently as treasurer of the Shirley Grace Pregnancy Center in Berlin, Maryland. Patty and her husband, Buddy, split their time between their homes in Frederick County and Ocean City. Welcome, Patty Cleary. How are you today?
I am fine, and thank you so much for having me. And I laughed when you said my bio that I split my time between Frederick and Ocean City. I was born and raised in Prince George's County, and I'm so happy that I work here now because this really is my home. I just tend to drive many, many miles to get to where my clothes hang. But thank you very much for having me.
I understand. It's glad to know that you are a native Prince Georgian, and we are always support the Prince George's Proud movement. Definitely. But I think the desire is to be in Ocean City and have some of that beach weather. So
crowded.
So we're here and we're talking about starting a business in retirement. And this has been a popular topic due to COVID. You have people thinking of starting all these different types of businesses. We were talking a little earlier about masks and people sewing masks, selling masks. How about this? Can you give us a nice definition, I guess the legal spill on what does a business mean and what's pretty much is a business?
Yes. And I will tell you first, I am at the tail end of the baby boomer generation. So I am, looking at next steps. I was the youngest of five. I grew up in Landover Hills. So the baby, we were all raised as the baby boomers, and my older brothers and sisters have already, looked at what their next steps are and, how to stay active in retirement. So this is important in so many respects to all people of all ages, but especially when we're over 50 and when we are looking at retiring. The definition of a business is anything that you can do where people will pay you. And I know that if someone hears the phrase starting a business, their mind starts to just spin of, oh my gosh, I'm going to need staff. I'm going to need office space. I'm going to need all of this insurance. There will be all of these regulatory things that I need to do. And some of that may be true, but a lot of it may not be true. So I don't want people to shy away from the thought of being self-employed or having their own business venture, when they hang up their spurs from what they've been doing, for all of these years. Um, when you enjoy doing something, whether it's a hobby, a craft, tinkering in the shed, all of those things have value. And when you have more time after you retire, you can turn that into something that is profitable. There are some folks who just want to stay busy after they retire. I don't think anyone has sufficient retirement income to say, wow, I don't need to make money. I think that everybody could look at an opportunity to make a little bit of money. But if it is something where you want to do something which is fulfilling, something that you will enjoy, and something where there is an existing market for, it could really be something that you can fill your days with. So I always say, if there's a hobby, something that you like to do, think about if that's something that you want to do for pay. Many, many ways that we can structure that. And that's where lawyers like me come into play, especially at Byrd. I've been a small businesswoman for 25 years, independent of being an attorney. Our managing partner, Mr. Byrd, had a construction company and an engineering firm before he went to law school and became an attorney. So many attorneys in our firm, we understand what that is like. And to me, it's very exciting to meet with someone and strategize about what is it that they like to do. Is there a market for it? How can we make that happen for them without having to invest thousands of dollars, which you don't have when you're retired? So it's really a blank page as far as what you want to do. When the pandemic started, probably everyone found out that there were seamstresses in their neighborhoods, because I started to see there were people that were sewing masks and selling them, and they were sewing them as quickly as they could because we all needed to have these masks. And I think a lot of folks were people who knew how to sew. They could follow the pattern and make the masks, and they would set them up on their front porch and people would pay the money. And we were able to start all of these small business ventures just from something as simple as, I've got some extra material sitting in my house. I've got a sewing machine. Let me make those masks. And I think everyone should look at that as an opportunity to say, okay, what skills do I have? Generationally, and I single out the baby boomers because we seem to be the ones that are, either dealing with retirement or we're looking at it. But some of the younger generations, they do not have the life experiences so far in their careers. I got a call a few years ago from wonderful new neighbors that had moved in. They started hearing this horrible beep in their house, and they didn't know what it was. And my husband and I went over there. It was the battery in their smoke alarm. And they felt so embarrassed, and they had just never been exposed to it. It was their first home. They did not know that it was battery operated. They didn't know, how do you make this beeping stop? But it is small things like that that I think people can say, I've got a skill set, which I've never used to make money before, but maybe there is something that I can do now for people. And also going back to, this past year and a half, you saw that neighbors would run errands for other neighbors and deliver groceries to them and check on them. And I know that so many people, did that out of the kindness of their heart. We just all wanted to make sure that we could get through this crazy time. But that could also give birth to someone who has extra time on their hands, and they want to take a neighbor who can't drive to a doctor's appointment, deliver groceries, run errands. When you're self-employed, you can determine what you think the market will bear for your services. And there are many people who are willing to pay for that service. And you could pay $7.95 for the grocery store to deliver it, Or you could pay something to your neighbor who's willing to do that and go out and to um, support the community and to take care of people in our community. So I want people to think a little bit differently about a business. It doesn't mean brick and mortar. It doesn't mean a big investment. It means your time. And if you've got time and you've got a knack for something, darn it, you could be that neighborhood grandpa who the neighbors can call when they've got that buzzing and they don't know where it's coming from, or maybe they need a new screen placed in a window because they may not know where to go to get that, where a lot of us know that we always had local hardware stores that did that. Changing locks, sharpening chainsaw blades. There are so many different things. Even people who like to cook. I know I love to bake when I have time, and my dream when I have the time is to bake some of my special cakes and pies and to sell them up at a farmer's market on Saturday mornings. I haven't been able to find time, but that's something that's on my list because it's something that I think I do well, and I think that there's a small market for. So really it is the sky's the limit. We all have limitations on our time, other commitments. Maybe we've got some physical limitations or some health limitations as we get older, but that shouldn't preclude you from being able to go out and pursue something which is very meaningful to you.
Thank you. You said a lot and you hit on a lot of different things. And just to kind of hone in on some stuff, I think there's an idea of you jumped in and said it that, oh, I have to start a business. I got to have this brick and mortar. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to get my insurance. I have to do all of this. Yeah. Now that we know that we're honing into our passion, I'm gonna be a little presumptuous. When you're in retirement, you don't really want to do stuff that feel like work. So, you've given your 40 years, 30 years, whatever have you, maybe to pushing other people's business or maybe putting aside something that really was passionate to you. And I think that's a good idea. And especially in this climate, is monetizing your passion. So now let's take it further. I know what it is. I want to monetize. What are my next steps? What are things that I have to consider from a legal perspective? Contracts. Now you said I might not necessarily need insurance. What type of business? If you can talk about that a little bit of things like, I guess, from a counsel perspective on it.
And this is where it's important to have an attorney or a law firm that you can call and say, hey, I know we met a year ago when I was trying to start this business and I've got my business entity set up, or if I've got some certain licenses that I need to have, that's fine. We can take you through all of that. But also, we are very excited small business people ourselves. And I think you can probably see my excitement over talking about business ventures because I think it's fabulous. But also you need to have lawyers that you can call a year later and say, hey, I'm supposed to get into this type of a project and it's a little bit different and I'm concerned about it. And we're always here to talk you through that. But taking you back to a year ago when you're having this idea, you can come in and talk to us, or we can have an initial quick conversation on the phone. And just to see if your idea is something that, really could work. Let's say you love to mow grass. There are some people in this world that love to mow grass. And with some folks who are both working full time, maybe they just hate to do it. They don't have time to do it. Maybe they want somebody to be able to mow their grass while they're on vacation or during certain times of year. That's where the beauty of the retired business owner can really come into play, because you can work as much as you want or as little as you want. So let's say that you want to do that as an example. There's certain things you need to do. And right now, the Maryland Home Improvement Commission wants you to be licensed because you're considered a landscaper. So we talk you through that process. It's not a horrible process. It's going to take a little bit of your time. It's going to cost a little bit of money to have to pay the fee. You have to take a test. Depending on what county you're living in, I'm presuming, most people who see this are in Prince George's County, we'll get you the appropriate business licenses. If you have to charge sales tax, we would help you get set up with that. And don't find that process overly daunting, because it is a one time we get a system set up for you, and then you determine how much work you want to do. Same thing with insurance. It's a conversation that we would have about what type of insurance do you need to have? Would your current homeowner's insurance cover it? In some instances, it very well may. And we talk about your liability and whether you would really need to have insurance coverage or not. Thinking that it's going to be too complicated should not be a bar to not at least having the conversation. And that's why I'm available for a quick initial consult. If you are hesitant to come into the office and sit down because that would be too official, that's fine. I'm happy to talk to anybody and take 15 minutes on the phone and just kind of talk through the ideas. So when you have a business can be a sole proprietorship where I make you masks, you're going to pay me money, and that is it. With the money that you earn, you would report it to the IRS. Right now it's on a Schedule C. We are not tax counsel, so we always ask people to consult a tax attorney, a tax accountant, or a lot of people feel very comfortable using QuickBooks, and QuickBooks or some of those other tax preparation software packages walk you through that. You have expenses related to your business, and they would also be offset against any income that you were to make. So you can go through this process, collecting your income, tracking your expenses. We would make sure that you would have a tax ID number, which is a number assigned by the IRS, and I liken it to a social security number for a business. Even if you're a sole proprietor and I'm doing work under Patty Cleary, I have my social security number, but I may wish to also get a tax identification number. It's free, it is painless. We will do that for you. It is a form-based process. And you go and run your business. How do you want to market this business? There are so many ways now through social media and word of mouth and neighborhood websites and neighborhood newsletters and fraternal organizations, and people still putting index cards on the community bulletin boards, in your local grocery store, that you could advertise your business as you want without having to take a whole lot of money to do that. The best recommendation is going to be coming from someone who you've done work with before. And if you helped Mrs. Smith by mowing her grass, Mrs. Smith is going to tell her friends, and those people are going to call you as well. So there are some regulatory legal challenges depending on what you want to do, but they're not insurmountable at all. And it basically is just establishing a framework for you to conduct your business or to do what you love for money. And then to decide how much you want to do and how much you don't want to do. I have some clients who are retired and, they're getting, knees replaced, or they've got a bum shoulder, or they don't have the use of the strength in their wrist. If they were in manual labor, let's say they were a machinist, and they don't have that ability in the grip strength right now to use that. There's other ways we can help you modify, and you still have a marketable skill. We can just change the way you do that. And that's where we're very willing to sit and help you strategize. What can you do? It really should be the things that you enjoy doing, because there is a market out there, and technology has come alive with younger generations, younger than the baby boomers. So they don't have some of the experiences to know how to do things that our generation, we just grew up knowing that we did it and we never really thought about it. And that's where you can still have time for your other social activities, whether it's, taking care of grandkids, or you want to travel, or, health concerns. You don't want to work more than 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week. That's fine. You can still have a satisfying business, and um, and really, put some meaning into your years after retirement, that your life is just beginning when you are able to hang up your spurs, and there are a lot of things that you can do. Likewise, let's say that you start a business and you just decide, yeah, I don't like this anymore. This hobby is becoming my job. I don't want it. I mean, that happens too. Um, you can stop it. It's not, you don't have that big of an investment where you're stuck in something that you realize that you just didn't really enjoy as much as you thought it would. Going back to me, I think it's great to bake pies and cakes and sell them, but probably after my 100th, I'm going to say this is a stupid idea. Um, but we'll talk you through that, because we've seen small businesses with older adults really flourish, and then we've seen some where they say, "Nah, I don't really like this anymore," and that's fine. It's just all part of our journey. Um, I don't want people to think that they can't do it because of too many barriers, because we can really help you knock down those barriers and show you that you don't need thousands of dollars in accounting work each year. You just have to file your tax returns, and you're going to attach a form or two. So it's doable. And I'd like everybody to feel confident that they can do that and really think outside the box, because the needs are great for things that you never would have thought of.
Thank you for that. That's exactly the perfect information. And before I get to any of your final thoughts, I just want to chime in as Carrie and the librarian, as I often say, and just root for. So, a lot of the things that you were questioning is looking at expenses, the impact of time, how you're going to advertise, organization, stuff in your area. You spoke to a lot of that. And one thing that we are PGCMLS, especially, we are the people's library. Your public library and your institution is your gateway and your key to free resources. And I'll say that again, free resources. So if you go to pgcmls.info under our online resources, we have several free resources that will help make you look at templates and look at things different and not as scary. We have Gale legal forms for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So you can take a look at what contracts look like. You can take a look at different informations, even power of attorneys, or anything that you would need or think as you're thinking of your backup plan. We also have different search engines where if you want to see what's in your area, what type of businesses are in your area, is it a deficit of a certain type of business? We have research tools that can help you with that. Also, if you need information from business journals, or you just need to see business journals, and as everyone is paring down like their monthly subscriptions, you have that free with the library. So I definitely encourage everyone to check out pgcmls.info to check out all of the free things that we have for you to help you with your business and help you with your growth. I think Patty did an excellent job of kind of talking about like shifting that mental mindset of, retired and I'm going off the pasture, to really creating a new life for yourself. So I'm hoping that you're encouraged, knowing that you have free community resources that will help you in your endeavors. Is there any final thoughts that you have, Patty, on anything?
It's have a positive outlook and think about it, because if you find that your kids have left home, and a lot of folks, baby boomers especially, they females, they stayed home, they raised their kids, and the kids get raised, and now what do I do? And also, a lot of men, they worked so hard to support their family, and now they're retired, and now what? I don't golf, I don't play bridge. What do I do? I'm just supposed to sit here in the chair. No, don't sit there in the chair. Think about what it is that you like to do, and if any of you guys have had kids, and if they call you when they're an adult and say, "Mom, how do I sew a button?" Okay, that could be a business opportunity for you, because a lot of people don't know how to sew buttons or to hem pants. Um, you know, changing the smoke detector battery, it was funny when it happened, but it was a real need. Um, so just, think that there are people that need you. They just don't know you exist yet. So don't think negatively. Just think that there are plenty of things that you can do.
Thank you so much again. Thank you, Byrd and Byrd. Thank you, Patty. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any ideas for future programs or any topics you want to know about, comment, send us an email and let us know. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Please feel free to check out our website, pgcmls.info, for more resources. Thank you and
Thank
goodbye.
you, Marion.
You're welcome.